paragraph from the poet Jasper Burns. The wrongness of words is the wrongness of worlds. Reincarnated private mirror situation, reincarnated TV in the back of the basement, reincarnated beautiful light, reincarnated hotel fortifications, reincarnated printer cartridge aisle, reincarnated journalism, reincarnated spectral other, reincarnated wood chip path in the woods behind the condo. As all my stars were looking good in the way looking good is in general an abysmal practice accountable to the persistence of somnambulatory property, which means suddenly all your face is obliterated by the subtle cash of a reincarnated lampshade. What comes ethically? It is important to be lyrical and joyous, and the use of song for all mankind just may be too agile to fathom past lives, mitigating resentment, the wild feelings of nothing left to emancipate. Reflex speculates into a glazed economic disturbance. Everything I forget inserts love into the silent money. As if there were no way through you, as if you, as in this model, both paraplegic and vast enough to seemingly take up all space, could be used only as both conductor and site for the performance of nostalgic violence. Which is what I do exactly when I am most asleep, as being most asleep is the only way I gain access to the reincarnated personnel door with a faux embossed leaf motif, which in spreading out from there across the room stands in as a kind of visual analog for gossip as such, or perhaps less interestingly as a sort of melody for food. Food that becomes more and more beautiful as each subsequent dish emerges from said door, food that is beautiful in the wrong way, food that like gossip compels you to be its witness. Then I eat your life and write about its mouthfeel. The come on, which is in all aspects a burial ground, other than white chocolate to the bone, other than no property at dusk, a person need not be born in the physical sense to purchase a mountain. This is my passport. It is also an ashtray. It is a genre that imagines desire. Its form does not differ from emptiness. Its asterisk relieves anxiety. It makes the given symbolic. This life is historically indifferent to the idea of play. The potential real estate provided by continuing to remember to know this means I cannot live within my life. Plot won't leave its people alone. Everything comes back to life. The more beautiful you are, the more and more I remain afraid. Reincarnated airport terminal, reincarnated yin-yang tapestry, reincarnated hammock installation diagram, reincarnated object petite a, reincarnated box spring and mattress combo coupon deal, reincarnated unauthorized sale of a celestial body, reincarnated vocabulary, reincarnated daydream entirely. Greenwich, meantime, amidst the slow rapture of a reincarnated half-speed limousine interior reupholstery instructional video, this is of objective interest. The voices in your head are culturally specific. Nobody tells you not to be alone. Symmetry is consoling. Love is the process of sublating the annuity structure into a corporeal now. The use of the word disclosure in the business sense when I put my arm around you and holler into its ornamental hull. It isn't that I don't know what to do, it's that in a much more real sense I have no idea what to do. All tactics, no strategy, high custodial to the great indoors, the idiot wind, the trumpets blowing now in the light that passes through me. Real denim, real milk, real lace, the 0% chance that I will ever shoot anyone is a balcony of one's own. When I went to jail, it was not on purpose. There was no consequence. The charge was stricken from my record. Its expungement hangs. Whatever number you come up with is the number that you're stuck with, and everything else is still a cubicle. I have never been on my knees below you for reasons of pleasure or otherwise. If I read this over and over again, it too will sound right to everyone with lungs, while the rest are relegated to occult, dirt-based replacements that click to its melody, also known as mutual aid, also known as the right to life, also known as companion animal. And the more I look at my dog, the less I think of my neighbor. This, the occasion, for me alone, a theme park. Reincarnated double bookkeeping, reincarnated Buick fog light replacements, reincarnated scrutiny, reincarnated Chinese improvisational technique, reincarnated aerosolized antimicrobial agents, reincarnated absolute blank, reincarnated harmless originality, reincarnated taffeta, kelp, etc. I would give real cash to any good boy who could fit that gold chain over my head, pink at all costs, against the two happy folds responsible for almost all morale and the absolute blood we dance with daily. Among whatever forms of recreational math spittoon against the screens of the casually located now, imaginary coins, imaginary us, imaginary happy birthday smile mustered through the tremendous consequence of being wrong. Whose passport is how I gain access to the turnstile of mannerist certainty, abject and vampiric, living off the planned obsolescence of its own immeasurable pleasure. This is what the word agility was made for, the unauthorized sale of a celestial body, the right to remain silent while I eat your life, your attire, calling this reality, being itself. Water, purification, gold and liquor, food, emergent, or the rather not, as if anything else were more than autonomy. So I'll just talk louder. The traditional stanza overlapping the dream means I am perfectly free to go home without that which is not useful to me. Gasping and the roof falls in, imaginary coins, etc. Everything I touch is ekphantic in the privileged dust of magical thinking, marginal phenomena, and the requisite meltwater. As failure is not the most interesting thing. To yell fake in only one direction, translated into the universal as if to divine from the pieces of bone what comes back to life. It's good, I had the phone, I got invited to a pig roast. It feels very quiet up here. So this is a book that came out like a year and 2 years ago. But there's a PDF of it online, it's sold out, but I will read a couple of poems from here. We buy gold, we are reimbursed. In the apartment with the window wide open where what is almost off terraforms its relation to the gold subaltern thought and its removal. Or that I may be relieved when whatever it is that has caused me to think my life specific becomes habituated to a nodding out in the corridor, making the sign for the shape of kindness, but still literally asleep inside the lacuna of Durans directed towards my assistant. I have been horrible about forcing the arrival of an obligatory glottal stop in the mouths of those around me. So much noise comes in from the adjoining room. The warmth of the subject I communicate to myself as different parts of the body react to heat and light and ideas. Calling me all night to a history of solutions yet to be exposed to the heart condition, the airsat's comfort of a personal shell game, if drink and drive for just one letter, with free samples of ordnance. We buy gold, we are reimbursed with a bridge with a name on it and more just technique. The world cannot contain enough sympathy as the chairwoman lifts up her hands, ready to ready the orchestra of my watching the thing the one I love is doing. I never want to make you feel that whatever I'm doing is fine, it doesn't love you like I love you. So flit me off in the spotlight of this all too rational gap in the chain of exchange acts. I do not in any way want to cope with the omission in a new enclosure as long as you repeat the word cakes, brute encouragement, instrumental in the antechamber in the clubhouse. Identity without the person. This is an epigraph from a book my friend Jackie put out called The Antidote. But where longing is longer, the wild persists, and I am making a safe space for violence. So we know that some one person is chasing some one ahead. Friends belonging to us in a number of very important senses, and in sharing our unpreparedness every day, one rehearses what was once achieved by the most extreme exertion of thought. knowing now that even with the most successful plant on our heart-lung bypass, I cannot make back enough to pay off the company's store, satisfied with the list of written demands, which was neither kindness nor a different kind of crime, neither vocabulary used at the expense of the other, only hoping that the dramatic sound of breath through a tube will take a tranquilizer and sleep before I'm pressed to ochre, before this rehearsed critique of material status rolled in the sugar pukes like a girl into the purple resource on a doorstop. Singing a little oppositional song. Meanwhile, the guests suddenly, as things that were not me, leave me, and then the strange character of my gender falls out, thought up outside of working hours and solved as quickly as possible, fed into the ideal of an infinitely divisible stretch, intelligible, seductive, and many-sided, but not designed for the comfort or the maintenance of your life. As long as the curve of immediacy rests on a platform consumed in opposition, people come by, people are coming by. I am here to give you hope, where I amethyst, amulet levitating, I frankincense, I gold, I hot to the touch, with the apparition in the crypt always already in stress positions, unreposed, treachery abounds, and keys the addresses out of the shining wrappers, bolted to the fire door of this high-velocity delivery system for privileged emotional knowledge. Actually waiting for absolute silence, actually using the word practice with its vague commitment to your dowry. Today, for the first time in 15 years, I woke up liberated from the silence of Mademoiselle. Please release me from this schema for an undisturbed capacity for enjoyment in the workings of the device, as every day I go in fear of fear and in love with you, enter sociality at once. As where this friend had been while alive and in the world as a whole inside me now, and it wants everything as all I do and did relates to knowing and loving him still. So where longing is longer, the wild persists, and I am making a safe space for violence in this picture of us doing us how we do. Where the problem is no longer my intention to still kill the messenger for access to the diamond-shaped thing that constitutes your green zone, but instead that a lack of privacy is boring, that affinity is uncomfortable, that it is entirely possible to decide what to take and what to leave behind. There is no need to feel better than another day, whatever might quiver without the law. Forgetting is forgiving, that the banshee realness of my heart was not ready and waiting in a cylinder. Strategic grill locations. We cannot know from this data set alone what happened in the parking lot. Its smeared black lace, the symptom of the ghettoized disease of parquet courts, his imitation lipstick, pizzicato of glass, moratorium to home. The spirit only gets to talk if it doesn't fit visiting the exile of the word for what you ask of me. Your floodlights sitting in a cooler with a frame so loose it buzzes. I would like to sell you this lithe dog in an eruption of mutual aid, learning voodoo to ward off the surplus. Sure, light the candles in the bathroom. It's fucked up that that animal is your companion. This is time not happening. Even the best good deal is only good enough. Whatever is you gets to go to the water park, but how is the creature to sleep? Because it's just the wrong corpse purring the rich timbre and hearing the swamp rise. 100% all, 100% information, literary success, gentlemen's agreements, peak data, recalcitrant cops, so that the last trials could be administered in an ambiance of relaxed understanding, as though to protect the sequester it advertises, which I consider solidarity. Reading. I pretend to agree, I pretend to work, I am paid. What is a price? I took all I could. It was free. I'll just read one more. Hilarious, absolute daybreak. I had none of those things either, so there's no story here. 4 breaths, then exhale, then rotate. When you arrive at the ordained place, I compensates for blind spot. Not so much in as on top of the sudden other thing to be responsible to. It was early morning. What just wants to die, living inside a hint that devastation is aimless. I think I might choke on this sheet draped over the real. I equate art with this necessity of non-compliance, so the instrument of knowledge plays only when the beloved's head turns from passing to being. I don't want to tell you what to think I do. I'd love you just the same if you didn't talk. Whenever I feel fine, I want to walk away from all of this. Thank you so much.